everyone, it's Jananie and welcome back to my channel, This Story Ain't Over. So today I'm coming to you with a giant book haul. Somehow I have acquired a ton of books in the past 3 weeks, in like the first little bit of the year. So I want to share them all with you today. A couple of these were presents and then a bunch of them were sent to me by publishers. So I'm going to share them all with you today. I'm really excited about a lot of these, and I also was very bad and ordered a bunch of books from Book Outlet, but they were all books that have been on my TBR that I've been meaning to read for a while. So yes, we'll just get right into it. I also have an OWLCRATE unboxing to do, so stick to the end for that as well. Okay, so the first book that I want to share is Helium by Rudy Francisco. So this is actually a gift from a friend for Christmas, and I had told her that I wanted this, and so I was so happy when I got it. It is a poetry collection by Rudy Francisco. He is a California-based spoken word artist, and I had like heard really great things about his poetry, and so I wanted to pick up this collection. And I've actually already read it. It was my first read of 2020, and I absolutely loved it. He has a lot of really thought-provoking poems. A lot of the ones at the beginning are kind of fun and whimsical and like motivating, and the collection is like split into different sections, and so the later sections have more like social critique and get a little bit more political, which was really interesting. So I absolutely love this, so I definitely recommend it if you were looking for a poetry collection to pick up. This one's a great one. The next book that I'm hauling is also one that I've already read, and I was so excited to read this because it is by a Toronto-based author. If you guys didn't know, I am Canadian. I live near Toronto, so I was really excited to read a Toronto-based author's book, and that is Given by Nandi Taylor. And so this is actually one of the books that has been published by Wattpad Books. So they are a new publisher taking stories off of Wattpad, the like site and app, and making them into real physical books. It actually just came out and it's gotten really great buzz, and I really love the cover for this. I just kind of fell in love with it the second I saw it, and I saw a dragon on it, so I got super excited about that. If you watch my books from my childhood video, you know that I loved dragon books when I was a kid. But basically this book follows her main character Jananie, who is like this warrior princess, and she's always lived within the small community of her tribe, and she's never kind of ventured outside of her tribe. But when her father is falling ill, she ends up traveling away from her tribes and her home island into this other country called Kresh, and she enrolls in the magical academy there in order to learn their magic and find a way to heal her father, because she's heard that the same illness is plaguing people in Kresh. And one of the really cool things about this book was the magic in it. So Jananie has her own magic from like the tribes, and it's called rune magic, and so she sings and draws these runes on her body, and then she can kind of draw on them to create magic and do kind of magical things. But the magic in Kresh is very different, and Jananie is kind of given this kind of culture shock, and she faces a lot of prejudice while she's there as well. It was really interesting because a lot of the things in this book mirrored or like were a commentary on real things in our world, so I thought that that was really great. But one of the big things about this book is that there's a huge romance in this, and it involves a shape-shifting dragon. So Jananie ends up meeting this boy who can shapeshift into a dragon, and dragons have been missing from the tribe islands for a long time, and so when she ends up in Kresh and meets this dragon, she's just kind of like totally weirded out. But he does this thing where he sees her and he's like, oh my god, you're my given, we must be together, and that's why it's called Given. But basically there's like this concept of the given, and so she is his like perfect mate, I would say. They are kind of chosen and destined for each other, but she's just like, nah, I'm not feeling this, and well, things just kind of spiral from there. I really enjoyed it, so if you wanted a diverse fantasy to pick up, I would definitely recommend this one. And then Wattpad Books was kind enough to give me more of their books. So one of them is The Opposite of Falling Apart. This one comes out, I think, later in February. This is just an art copy. But from what I know about it, it's kind of a like sweet contemporary. It involves two characters. So one of the characters lost his leg in a car accident, so he's kind of reeling from that impact on his life. And it also involves this other character who's this young girl with anxiety. And so when the two of them end up in like this cute little like fender bender, they end up becoming like unlikely friends and leaning on each other for support. And so it's about these two people who are feeling a little broken and realizing that it's okay to be a little broken. So I think that's gonna be really cute, and I am definitely excited to pick this up as well. The next book is What Happened That Night by Deanna Cameron. This one is actually really interesting. It is a like thriller, and I'm really excited to read it because of the premise. Basically it takes place in this small town, and this boy named Griffin Tomlin has been found dead, and so the story takes place 4 months after his murder, and the main character Clara's sister is put on trial for murder, and you know, she's the main suspect for this murder, but no one knows why she did it and what really happened the night of the murder. But Clara is the only one who knows the truth. I will say that this book has some content warnings for sexual assault, so just be careful of that, but I'm very excited about this just because of the whole mystery aspect, and also just how it's a murder book, so yes, excited. Alright, the next book that I have is Trapeze by Lee Ansell. So I absolutely love this cover, first of all. But I also thought that the premise of this book was really interesting because it follows our main character who is a trapeze artist in a circus. And so her family has always like been part of the circus, and she's always been traveling all her life. And so she's never really like set down roots and kind of had to go through a normal high school experience. But when an accident befalls the circus tent and it gets burned down, the main character is forced to kind of stay in one place in this small town in California, and she is faced with regular high school life and this maybe cute boy who is also there, and there's a bit of a romance. I just love that it involves trapeze and also like a circus, so I'm definitely excited for this as well. And then the last book that they sent me was Confessions About Colton. This one comes out later this spring-summer season. Basically, this is about a boy named Colton who has been murdered, and so his best friend Elliot is the one who finds his murdered body. And then after that really intense experience, Elliot finds a note that was stuck in his pocket by someone that he doesn't know, and whoever wrote that note claims to be Colton's killer, and they say that they're going to leave like several clues for Elliot to figure out who it was that killed Colton. It seems like this is going to be like a really intense murder book, and I just love that it involves like clues and like Elliot kind of trying to figure out who murdered Colton. And I also just love the tagline on the back, so I thought I'd read it for you. By the time you read the last letter, you'll know who I am. Scavenger hunt, anyone? And it's like in this murdery writing, and it's really creepy. So yeah, I'm gonna try not to read this at night because I'm probably gonna get freaked out. But I like don't get scared easily from like horror books, but thriller murder books like always freak me out. So those were all of the books from Wattpad, and now I have a couple finished copies of ARCs that I got previously. So I have hauled these books in the ARC form before, but they are Don't Read the Comments by Eric Smith and Belle Revolt by Lindsay Miller. This one is a gender bent Prince and the Pauper type story, and it is a fantasy book. And then this one involves a gaming influencer who like makes money off of being this huge celebrity gamer. And then the other main character is also a huge gamer, and he ends up meeting this celebrity gamer on like within the game, and they start forming a like friendship slash romance. But then there's like this troll hate group that starts like rising within the game, and they start attacking like these two players, but also start attacking them in real life as well, and so things kind of get intense from there. But the main characters are obviously not going to go down without a fight. So yeah, I'm really excited about both of these. The next book that I have is the OWLCRATE Book of the Month from last month, and I did do an unboxing for that in a vlog, and that book is The Guinevere Deception by Kiersten White. This is the OWLCRATE exclusive cover. This is basically a retelling of the Arthurian legend, but from the perspective of Guinevere and kind of following her, and it also involves some magic as well. So I'm really excited about this. I've heard great things about it, and I just love that Kiersten White writes these like very specific niche books like this one, and also The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein, which I still want to read as well. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. This was like on my wish list even before I got the OWLCRATE box, so really excited about it. And then I have a few ARCs from Penguin Random House Canada and Penguin Teen from the US. And so the first one is Fight Like a Girl by Sheena Kummel. So this one follows our main character Trisha, who is a 17-year-old kickboxer, and she is of Trinidadian heritage. It says that on the back of the cover, which I thought was super interesting. This one's also set in Canada, or it's by Canadian author, so I was really excited about that as well. And I don't know a lot about this book, but the inciting incident is that her father ends up dying in an accident, but Trisha thinks that her mother is looking a little too peaceful after her father's death, and so she thinks that there might be something going on there. But all she wants to really do is just kind of focus on her fighting and her kickboxing and not worry about what might really have happened, but obviously she's probably gonna uncover that. So I'm really interested by this, and I'm really excited that it is a book about a Trinidadian girl, so I'm excited about this. The next one is one that I'm super excited about because it's a historical novel, and it takes place in Japan in 1945, and that is The Blossom and the Firefly by Sherry L. Smith. I'm just gonna read you what it says on the back because I think it's really interesting. So Japan, 1945, Taro is a talented violinist and a kamikaze pilot in the days before his first and only mission. He believes he is ready to die for his country until he meets Hana. Hana hasn't been the same since the day she was buried alive in a collapsed trench during a bomb raid. She wonders if it would have been better to have died that day, until she meets Taro. A song will bring them together, the war will tear them apart. Is it possible to live an entire lifetime in 8 short days? I thought that that was so adorable. I'm super excited about this. I just love that it's kind of like set during wartime, but it's also like this kind of whirlwind, very, you know, heartbreaking romance within 8 days apparently. So yeah, very excited about this. And I also just really want to pick up some more historical fiction, so I think this is going to be awesome. The next book is one that I talked about in my January TBR, and that is A Phoenix First Must Burn, and this is a collection that is edited by Patrice Caldwell. So this is a collection of 16 stories of black girl magic, which I'm so here for. They're all sci-fi and fantasy stories about black girls with black girl magic by Black female authors, and I'm just really excited about a lot of the authors that are in this collection, including Elizabeth Acevedo, A. Somaya Dowd, Justina Ireland, L.L. McKinney, Ibi Zeboy. There's just a ton of great ones in here, so I'm excited for that. And then Penguin Teen sent me an arc of The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. So this is her new book that's coming out in March. I'm so excited about it, and I have already started reading it. I am like almost done it, and it is just so lyrical and beautiful, and I like can't say more than that. But it is basically a historical kind of fantasy. It follows the sister of Mozart. So if you didn't know, Mozart had a older sister. Her name was Marie Anna, but everyone kind of called her Nanowrimo. And although she never reached the fame of her brother, she was also a great performer and also a composer as well. But because she was a woman, her talent was never really brought to life. And so this is kind of a story about her, but also a magical world that she kind of discovers and that her brother also discovers with her. There's a sibling relationship in this. There's a magical world that comes alive. And I just am really enjoying this, and it's just written so beautifully. So super excited about finishing this, and I will let you know my thoughts in a wrap up very soon. All right, next I'm going to unbox my book outlet order, which I made this month. I got a bunch of books because they were on sale, and it was funny because I found a bunch of books that like I'd been meaning to read, and they were on really cheap. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get them. So the first book here is A Little Something Different by Sandy Hall. So I actually decided to pick this up because of Ariel Bissett. She talked about this on her podcast called Books Unbound. Definitely go check it out if you haven't. It's great. Her and Raylene just kind of talk about the books that they're reading and that they want to read and that have been recommended to them. They answer some questions. It's just a lot of fun, and I just love hearing people talk about books. But I was really interested by this book because it's a romance, but it is told from the perspective of not the main like couple that's falling in love, but like all the people around them and like the objects around them and like the like animals around them. Like it takes like many different perspectives and is telling this love story. So I thought that that was really interesting, and I really wanted to pick it up and see how it was. But yeah, it says 14 viewpoints, so I think it's gonna be cool. All right, the next book is one that came out last year and that I was super excited about. It was like one of my most anticipated releases, but I never got around to like buying it or picking it up. And that book is Somewhere Only We Know by Maureen Gu. So this is a YA contemporary, and it follows her main character Lucky, who is like a huge K-pop star, and she ends up coming to America for the first time to debut her new song on the Later Tonight show. But the night before she's supposed to perform on the show, she ends up going out to get a hamburger late at night, and she ends up running into Jack, who is this tabloid reporter who is like going into this hotel to kind of get a scoop, and he ends up running into her, but he doesn't know who she is because I guess he doesn't follow K-pop, and it ends up being like this whirlwind kind of romance, and it takes place over like a short amount of time, and I think it's gonna be adorable. So I'm really excited about it, and I just love that it like involves this like K-pop star, so I think it's gonna be great. All right, the next book that I got from Book Outlet is Written in the Stars by Aisha Saeed. So I've been meaning to read this for a really long time. I've heard a lot of people buzz about it when it came out, but this basically follows her main character Nyla, who is the daughter of very conservative immigrant parents, and so they have always kind of given her the rule that she can't date, she can't really talk to boys. But when she ends up kind of breaking their rule and falling in love with this boy named Saif, they end up kind of carting her off to Pakistan, and they end up setting her up for an arranged marriage. And so she's trying to find a way out of this and kind of dealing with these pressures, and she's leaning on Saif to help her escape. And so it's a very kind of intense story, and I'm really interested to see how it goes. And I've heard some really amazing things about this author as well. She's had some other books come out recently that have done really well, so I'm excited to read this. All right, the next book that I got from Book Outlet is The Boat People by Sharon Bala. So this is a book that follows a cargo ship that landed on the coast of British Columbia in Canada, carrying 500 refugees from Sri Lanka. And so the story is told from different perspectives. One of the perspectives is someone who is a refugee on the boat. Another perspective is the lawyer kind of dealing with the case. And then the last perspective is a third-generation Japanese-Canadian adjudicator who is kind of dealing with this case as well. This book has done really well in terms of awards, and it was a Canada Reads selection as well. So yeah, I want to read more kind of Canadian books, and this one seemed really great, so I'm really excited to read this. The next book that I have here also came out last year. It is another YA contemporary romance, and that is There's Something About Sweetie by Sandhya Menon. I've been meaning to read this for a while now. It is a companion to When Dimple Met Rishi, and I absolutely love that book. But basically this book follows our two main characters, Ashish and Sweetie. So Ashish was actually, I think, Rishi's younger brother in When Dimple Met Rishi, and so Ashish has kind of come to this agreement with his parents that they will set him up with a girl, like an Indian girl, and he has to kind of go along with it and take her out on dates to like the temple and everything. And so that girl ends up being Sweetie, who is a plus-size Indian girl, and I am just really excited about this book. I think it's gonna be adorable. I've heard some great things about it, so yeah, really excited about it. The next book that I have here is another YA contemporary romance. It's one that I really wanted to read when it came out because it's by 2 authors and they're like engaged to each other, which I thought was really cute, but that is Always Never Yours by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. So this book involves a girl who always dates a guy and he ends up falling in love with someone else, which I thought was really interesting. And so at the beginning of the book, she kind of makes a decision that she's not going to focus on guys anymore. She's going to put her head down, work hard to get into the college that she wants. And she ends up getting involved with the school play and theater. And although she just wants to do a small role, she ends up getting cast as the main role, which is Juliet. And so she's kind of dealing with that. And in the midst of this, she ends up getting involved with this aspiring playwright named Owen. And she agrees to help him with his plays if he agrees to help her get the attention of a potential new boyfriend who is like one of the stagehands. But things get complicated when the two of them start to kind of have feelings for each other. But our main character really doesn't want to end up in another situation where the person that she dates falls for someone else. The next couple of books I have here are Ever Lost and Ever Wild by Neil Shusterman. So this is actually a gift from a friend, and this is the first book that I ordered from Book Outlet. But I am really excited about these because they're by Neil Shusterman, who I absolutely love. I've read a lot of his stuff recently and just really enjoyed it, including Challenger Deep and the Side trilogy. So I actually read this back when I was like 10 or 11 and really liked it. It was super weird. I can't honestly remember anything about it because it was a really long time ago. It was like 10 years ago. But I really want to read it again and kind of continue with the series. So I got these. They are like a sci-fi series. It's about these kids who end up in like this limbo place called Everlost, and they're basically trying to sort of escape, and that's about all I know. I'm just really excited to read it. So yeah, if you have read these books, let me know what you thought of them, because yeah, I mean, anything Neil Shusterman writes, I'm just excited for, because they're always strange and weird. So yeah. And then another book that I got at Book Outlet was Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. So I really love Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro, and I really want to read Never Let Me Go because he's really well known for this, and this was actually a Nobel Prize winner as well at some point. So yeah, I just really wanted to check it out because I love Remains of the Day. It is such a literary read, but I absolutely love it, so I wanted to check this out, and it was on sale on Book Outlet. And then the last book that I got from Book Outlet is The Night Tiger by Yangzi Chu. So this is like a historical fantasy novel, I think. I really want to read this because it was a Reese's Book Club pick, and I have heard really amazing things about it. But basically this is set in 1930s colonial Malaysia, which I thought was super interesting, and as I said again, I really want to read more like historical fiction, especially in colonial context. But basically this follows our main character, who is a dressmaker, but she also moonlights as a dance hall girl to pay off her mother's like gambling debts. And then the inciting incident, I believe, is when one of her dance partners ends up leaving behind some kind of souvenir for her, and it's like something scary and ominous, and so she ends up getting plunged into a dark adventure, it says. And then there's also another main character who is a 11-year-old Chinese houseboy named Ren, and he has a promise that he made with his dead master to find his master's severed finger and bury it with his body, and I believe that's probably the souvenir that the like dance hall girl gets. But Ren has to do this within 49 days or else his master's soul will never rest. But as time passes, more deaths start cropping up around the area, and so I think the girl and the little boy are trying to kind of solve this mystery and figure out what happened. All right, and then the last thing I have here is the OWLCRATE box of the month. So I'm going to do a quick unboxing here for you guys because I've already been talking forever about all of the books that I got. So this month's theme is Vengeance Will Be Mine. So the first thing in here, which is super cute, is this pair of socks, and they're inspired by Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. So I am super excited about these. They look super cute. You can already see a crow on there, and it says like Crooked Kingdom on them. I know I'm gonna wear these. And they are made by Out of Print, who makes like bookish little goodies. The next thing in here is this OWLCRATE exclusive mug, which I am very excited about. So let's see how it looks on the inside. Oh my god, this is so cute. Oh, it's Harry Potter inspired, I believe. Sirius's house, Grimmauld Place. And then you can also see the dragons and I think the Forbidden Forest. And then I don't know what this is. It might be the Ministry or Azkaban maybe. There's some wizards down here, some Death Eaters as well. And overall it's just super freaking adorable. So very excited about this. The next thing in here is inspired by Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and that is this little like map flag of the Lord of the Rings world. I forget what it's called because I've only read The Hobbit and that was a really long time ago. But this is super cute. Like, it is such a cute little like pennant thing, and I'm definitely gonna hang it up because it just looks really cute. And honestly, fantasy maps are my fave. The next thing in here is the OWLCRATE Monthly Pin. And so this is it. It says blood to blood, name to name, and bone to bone. And then it has like a crossed pair of swords and like a hand holding magic cards, which I'm very interested in, and I think it has to do with the book of the month, which I have some guesses for. But before that, this is the next thing in the box, which is like this little velvet pouch, and I wonder what's inside. Whoa! Okay, this is super cute. It's like a little box, and on the front it says you've got words in your soul, and inside I think it's like a little pill box and like with a mirror as well. But you can also take out like the little thingy inside and put whatever you want in there, so I think that's really cute. All right, the next thing in here is something I'm super excited about, and it's a scented candle, and I always love a good scented candle. This one is called Sear, and the scents are dragon fruit and tropical rainforest. It's made by A Court of Candles, and it's an OWLCRATE exclusive. Let's see. Oh, that smells really nice. It's very fresh and tropically. Okay, I'm super excited about the book that I just saw in the box, and it is Scavenged the Stars by Tara Sim. So this is, I think, like a retelling of like the Count of Monte Cristo, I believe, and it's all about revenge, which makes sense. Vengeance will be mine was the theme, but this is an OWLCRATE exclusive signed edition with a exclusive cover, because I think there was a different cover on the ARC edition that I had. But there's also a letter from the author, so I'll read that for you. Dear reader, there's nothing quite like a good revenge story, is there? This book, much like its inspiration, The Count of Monte Cristo, is all about revenge. When everything is taken from you, what option left is there than to go after the man who ruined your life? But this isn't just a story of revenge. It's also about family, grief, and losing one's way. It's about righting your wrongs and reaching out for help when you need it. It's about picking yourself back up and hoping the next day will be better, to find the power to make it better. It's about a girl and a boy who want, more than anything, to be loved. Aww. It's a story about standing up to the injustices of the world and saying no more. Love, Tara Sim. I absolutely love that. That was adorable. And I'm just pulling it out of the plastic now. Oh my god, this is so pretty. I really like this cover. Like, it's really like nice to touch as well, and I love the color. I'm just gonna open it up so you can see it naked. Very, very cute. And this is the signed page as well. But oh my god, I'm so excited about this. I've always wanted to read The Count of Monte Cristo, and I've heard like great things about it, but I'm pretty sure it's like a really long book, so I'm not totally feeling that. So I'm down to read this retelling. I love any kind of retelling, so I think it's gonna be great. Oh yeah, this is the original cover. There we go. It was on the back of the letter. Okay, and then the last thing in the box is the teaser for next month's box, and the theme for next month's February box is A Power Within. Boop, 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 boop. So if you don't know, I am an OWLCRATE rep, so if you go down to my description, there is a code there. It's just story in capital letters, and you can use that to get 10% off your first OWLCRATE order. So if you liked what you saw, I would definitely recommend grabbing a box. But yeah, next month's theme is A Power Within, and it says on the back that every February box will include a deck of playing cards inspired by Throne of Glass. So that's really exciting. I mean, I love playing cards, so I'm gonna love that. Throne of Glass isn't my favorite anymore, but I did enjoy it back in the day, so I'm excited to get the next box. But yes, that was like 1,001 books, and you all sat here and listened to it. If you stayed until the end, well, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know in the comments if there's a book that I mentioned that you're really excited to read, and also let me know if there's a book that I mentioned that you absolutely love and that you think I should read first. I always love hearing your thoughts, and I would love to know what to prioritize on this giant TBR of books that I have now given myself. So yeah, super excited about all of these, and I will see you in my next video. So until then, please remember that this story ain't over. Bye!